as of late. I just like that he's getting more comfortable. He's shooting the three with confidence. That's what I like the most. You know, the offensive rebounding and defending, playing hard every possession, that's natural to him. You know, he reminds me a lot of another Chicago guy that I played with in OKC that had to make the team like that, and DeAndre Liggins. And he was a huge part of our team that year, and he fought his way onto the roster. And as the season went on, he got more comfortable on offense. You know, he made his mark on defense, and I feel like Zoe's the same way. And you know, 3 for 4, knocking down the three, hit that big three in the corner. I'm just happy that he got his confidence on the offensive side, because defensively, those Chicago guys, they could do that in their sleep. So I'm happy for him.
Kevin, what were you guys able to do to kind of up the defense late in the third and take that through the fourth? And Draymond sets the tone a lot of the times doing that.
I felt like we were solid defensively the whole game. We didn't turn them over. They had one turnover, I think midway through the fourth, maybe. Yeah. And you know, when you got more possessions, you know, it's going to be a tight game. You know what I'm saying? And I think our defense is built off of like flying around, switching, creating turnovers. And I thought Minnesota did a great job of keeping the basketball in their hands. And so we just had to wait that out and you know, keep playing. I felt like they really, you know, came into the game trying to take care of the basketball and not give us fast breaks and get our crowd into it, and they executed on that. But throughout the whole game, I thought we were solid. They shot over top of hands, and we rebounded well.
Kevin, when you just look at this whole season with the way, you know, the officiating's been with the whole freedom of movement, how have you seen the team try to adjust defensively, and how do you kind of handle all that, just knowing that it's scrutinized?
Well, I see a lot of teams around the league where the off-ball actions, I mean, that's like the trenches, you know what I mean, where you can kind of not grab and prevent a guy from moving, but kind of like force a guy. It's kind of like hand checking back in the day. I think off the ball is kind of a place for you to be a little bit more physical and establishing our identity on the defensive side of the ball. And you can tell guys are kind of iffy on when to be physical, when to lay off. And, you know, especially the way the ball's moving around the league now, bodies are moving. You know, you playing loose on the guy, he set a pin down on you, now you got the ball rolling, you know. You get 2 on the ball, you drop it down for a layup, you get the 3 on the corner. So, and, you know, all that stuff starts before the basketball, you know. So you usually talk to be physical, you know, use our forearms, use our, you know, play the game a little bit. So I think the refs are doing a buckling stuff that we used to do off the ball before the play, and they're calling it now, so just got to adjust.
Kevin, can you talk a little bit about Klay's ability to kind of restart the offense in the fourth quarter? He had 10 of his 22 in the final period. It was a little bogged down in the third, so can you talk about, like I said, how he's able to kind of reignite that a little bit?
Well, Klay is a guy that we rely on his catch and shoot, coming off the screens, creating a mismatch in a post sometimes if he has a smaller guy on him. And I think he made shots tonight. He set great screens. I think in that fourth quarter, the energy on the defensive side of the ball was kind of pushed us over the top. We forced them to shoot over top of the hand, and you know, they set great screens all night. Our guys set great screens for Klay, and he was able to knock it down. So that's his time in the fourth, especially you know, with that group out there. We rely on Klay to get us produce offense for us, and it's just another night for him.
Last one for Monty.
A lot of guys are reluctant to use that phrase, flip the switch, but it looked like in the late third, early fourth, that you guys, there's a certain winning time mentality that seems to take over for you guys sometimes. And tonight, it kind of was evident in the way you guys really turned up the defense. What did you, I mean, you just talked about that, but in that fourth quarter, was there a different mindset defensively? Because it looked like it was.
I mean, you just want to win a basketball game in the fourth. But I thought, like I said earlier, I think the way they kept the ball in their hands, you know, the turnovers, we rely on trying to you know, turn teams over, and you know, we just had to stay solid for as long as possible. And I thought we waited that time out, like I said, in the fourth. You know, it just happened to be in the fourth that we opened it up. But I think we were solid. We were, you know, they were shooting over a contest. I thought Jimmy hit some tough shots over us first 3 quarters. But we stayed with our contest. Like our rebounds were, you know, rebounding them by 22. So that tell that we were contesting shots and, you know, we were getting out, but we didn't turn them over. So it kind of we didn't get out in transition, the crowd wasn't screaming, we weren't getting open threes like we normally do. But like I said in the first game, it's going to be games like that. We're going to have to grind it out late into the fourth, and then tonight was one of those nights.
Great, thank you. Appreciate that.